Now this camera got a lot of hate when it got announced a week ago. And I'm here to tell you it's okay. This is an expensive camera and I'm not going to gloss over that. But it is very special. Now this is my first impressions video. Sony let me borrow this camera for a couple of days. I do have to send it back. They're not paying me. They have no input in this video. But I did get to take it out today. And I just got back from a trip to the Grand Teton National Park with my good friend Carl Meshner, and he actually had a copy from Sony that he is also borrowing with him, and I got to play around with it there at the Teton, so I have had a little bit of time with it. Definitely check out his video as well, because I know he's got some good things to say about this camera. But I'm super excited about this. Now, elephant in the room, as I mentioned, is $5,100, which is crazy. But unfortunately, I think that's just where we're at today as things stand with tariffs and inflation. And that's just, I think that's just where it's at. And when you look at the cost of the predecessor, you adjust for inflation, you factor in the tariffs, Sony really couldn't make it any cheaper. And I'll talk about if I think it's worth it after I've had more time with this camera. But I just wanted to kind of address these things because I've seen online people are saying it's encroaching into Leica Q3 territory. You're better off just getting the Leica Q3 or getting a used Q2. Now, I will encourage everyone to get a used Q2. It's a fantastic camera. But I have it here right behind me. This is my Q3, not Q2. The Q3 is not an RX1R Mark III. These are two completely different cameras. In an ideal world, I would own both of these cameras, to be perfectly honest. Now I could talk all day about why I love fixed lens cameras, but just go ahead and watch my Q3 and Q2 videos, and you'll understand why I absolutely love this camera. But just for the sake of brevity, I've been using a Leica Q series for the last 2 years. It completely changed how I approach photography, especially because I've been focusing a lot more on filmmaking these days. Having a point and shoot camera that has incredible quality, I can crop in and have pseudo other focal lengths essentially just around my shoulder, and I don't even know it's there and it's ready at a moment's notice. That is what is important for me right now. And I know it's important for a lot of other people as well. And I think this is the answer to some people who don't necessarily want a Leica. They want to stick with the Sony ecosystem. They've had the predecessor and they want to upgrade. Thousands of people have been asking for this camera. So it's crazy to see everyone getting all up in arms about the price or about it being too close to the Q3. They're completely different. 28 millimeters, but in reality it's 26 millimeters versus 35. It's way different. And as someone who owns the Q3 and will talk nothing but great things about that camera, it's okay for Sony to come up with this, and it's okay for them to price it at this price point, because this is actual work of art in of itself. It is incredibly small. It is a 35mm f2 full frame camera. There has been a gap in the market for this camera, and Sony have delivered. It's brought what was excellent from its predecessor with its form factor, the image quality of the Zeiss lens, but then it's just added all of the good things that we're used to from Sony. It's got that 61 megapixel sensor that's the same as the Q3. Sony makes that sensor. I say same with an asterisk, there's probably some minor differences. It has the fantastic autofocus that we're used to from Sony cameras, which is light years ahead of what the Q3 offers. Not that that's bad. I like that the Q3 slows me down. But if you want a point and shoot that's incredibly small, but then has insane autofocus capabilities with AI autofocus tracking, and you can track planes and birds and caterpillars, whatever, I don't know. You've got all of those modern things in this. It's just tiny. This is tiny. I don't have the biggest hands. This is insanely small. When I had it on my shoulder, I often forgot that it was even there. This is like the perfect backpacking camera. It's the perfect just every single day camera. So there's been complaints on the battery. And I'll talk about that right now because that's something I can talk about. I won't talk about too many things because I want more time with this before I form a somewhat valid opinion. This is a battery that has existed. It's not a new one that Sony just made for this camera. I used it this afternoon as I would use my Q3. I don't turn my Q3 off. I let it auto shut down, I think like after a minute or something, and then the screen goes black after like 30 seconds. I think I was gone for 3 hours and we're at 35% battery. That's not ideal. Now, that being said, you can buy another battery. It's not the end of the world, and they're incredibly small, smaller than the Q3's battery. So if I was to buy this camera, I would definitely have at least 2 batteries. But then another thing that's nice is it does have a USB-C port, and you can charge from a power bank if you wish. Build quality, initial impressions, doesn't feel like a $5,000 camera. Now, because I have to send this back to Sony, I can't abuse it as I would my own camera. The Leica can take a beating, I know that for a fact. This, I don't know if it could. And I can't say time will tell because I gotta treat this with respect because it has to go back. I'm very excited about this camera. I've talked about point and shoot cameras a lot, and that's because I don't really like changing lenses, and I like to be able to just make a photograph, you know, where it's second nature. And the fact that this has an even better cropping ability than the Q3, I say it's the same sensor, it starts at 35, so it starts a little bit more zoomed in. But by better, I mean better experience. It has a stepping crop function. You can keybind it, and then it will actually change the entire field of view to 50mm and 70mm. So you've got 35, 50, 70. On the Q3, you have 28, 35, 50, 75, and 90, but they're just frame lines. They don't crop in visually when you're shooting. And that kind of takes away a little bit, defeats the purpose of having that in my mind. I love the frame lines though, I use them all the time. But now that this has that step crop, I'm gonna be disappointed every time I go back to the Q3. And I've talked about this time and time again, lens compression doesn't exist. So you have 61 megapixels, and that's what matters when you're cropping. When you're standing in the same place and you're photographing something, lens compression will be exactly the same, whether you're zooming or if you're cropping to match that zoom. The only thing that's going to change is distortion and resolution. So it's really nice that you get that experience. It's essentially 3 primes in 1. I think a lot of people will like that. I personally absolutely love that, use it all the time on my Q3, and that's the reason why the Q3 has been my only photo camera up until I bought the M11 a couple of months ago. So super excited to put this through the ringer delicately for this week before I have to send it back. I'm really interested to see how the Zeiss lens expresses character. That's one thing I love about the Q3, that Summilux glass, absolutely phenomenal, it's gorgeous. So I will do some comparisons, I'll take both cameras out as well. Now I know I ranted about how they're totally different, but I want to just experience them side by side. I've talked about this before as well. Any camera these days is going to be perfectly fine. It's more about the user experience, what's going to inspire you to pick it up and motivate you to go make photos. So that's what I want to feel. I want to see how I feel when I'm using them, you know, at the same time and switching between both, what it feels like in my hands. Quite frankly, I think I may, if I like it, I will never get rid of the Q3. I want to put that out there right now. But I might pick this up and use it side by side. Who knows? Time will tell. I'm excited. It's a great time to be a photographer. We're so spoiled. We have so many cameras to choose from. We've got to stop expecting camera companies to tailor to our every single need. Someone's always going to get upset, but thousands of people are happy that Sony released this camera. And I'll just leave you with this. Just look at that size difference. Granted, the hood is on the Q3, but it is very, very significant. They are 2 totally different cameras. So once again, if you want to know things about this, if there's something burning your mind, comment down below, hit me up on Instagram. I'll try and implement it in the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.